If you overate yesterday, the worst thing you can do today is try to make up for it. My weight jumped 5.2 pounds in 8 days, and I'm showing you the 5 things I'm doing right now so that one off-track stretch doesn't turn into a full-blown spiral. Before I left for the beach, I weighed in at 151.8 pounds. The next time I stepped on the scale, 157. And my first thought was literally, damn, I didn't think I'd be up that much. Because during those 8 days, I had ice cream, funnel cake, pizza. Then I came straight home and went right into a wedding where I had 3 drinks, salmon for dinner, and wedding cake. So yes, I ate differently than I normally do, and sometimes I definitely ate more than I normally would. So here's the first of the 5 things I do after overeating. I do not compensate for it. I don't skip meals, I don't slash calories, I don't cut out carbs because I think I suddenly need to be good. And I don't add extra cardio because I feel like I need to burn off what I ate. Now, if you wake up after a big meal and you genuinely feel full, that's different. There's a huge difference between I'm not hungry yet and I'm not allowed to eat because of what I ate yesterday. One is listening to your body. The other is punishment. My goal isn't to undo yesterday. It's to return to the behaviors I normally rely on. I don't restart, I return. If you're new here, I'm Sarah Heilman. I'm a personal trainer and nutrition and health coach. I lost 65 pounds and have maintained that weight loss for well over a decade. And today, I also coach people who are losing weight with GLP-1 medications. I haven't personally used a GLP-1, but a huge part of what I teach is how to build the habits that still need to exist alongside weight loss medication. Because whether you're using a GLP-1 or not, one of the most important skills you can learn is how to have an imperfect day without turning it into an imperfect week. The second thing I do after overeating is return to my normal meals. Here's the thing, getting back on track doesn't mean getting back to perfect. When I came home from the beach trip, my workouts actually snapped back faster than my nutrition did. I didn't immediately start tracking everything again, but both mornings I started with a high protein meal. That's one of my anchors. Instead of asking, how do I erase the last 8 days? I asked, what does normal look like for me? And protein is part of my norm. Your anchor might be your usual breakfast, it might be drinking your water, it might be simply sitting down to your typical meals again instead of grazing all day. The point is, you do not have to rebuild your entire routine in one morning. Move back to the habits that normally support you. Because if every vacation or overeating episode ends with, okay, tomorrow I'm going to be really good, you can just end right back up in that restrict, overeat, restrict cycle. I want my normal habits to be something I can return to without drama. And if that's what you're trying to build too, whether you're using a GLP-1 or you're losing weight without one, subscribe, because we're talking about more than just trying to get the scale down. Here we are building the habits, the strength, the mindset that can help you actually maintain your progress long term. Number 3, go back to your normal workouts, but don't use them to pay for food. The morning after I got home from the beach, I went to the gym and did my lower body workout. Then that night was the wedding. I had my 3 drinks, dinner, and wedding cake. The next day, I got up, drank a ton of water, and that afternoon I went back to the gym and did my upper body workout. But I wasn't there trying to burn off the wedding. I wasn't calculating the drinks or trying to erase the funnel cake. They were just my workouts. That's the difference. Exercise is not the bill that comes due after you've eaten something. I strength train because I want to be strong and because protecting my muscle while losing weight matters to me. When I started my rebuild, my DEXA scan gave me a baseline for my body composition. At the time, I weighed about 170.6 pounds with 99.7 pounds of lean mass. And lean mass is not the same thing as pure muscle. It also includes things like organs and fluids. But seeing those numbers reinforce something. I don't just care about losing weight. I care about what I'm keeping while the weight comes off. That's what next week's video is all about, my exact strength training plan. But for today, if it's normally a workout day, train. If it's normally a rest day, rest. Don't invent a punishment workout because you ate differently yesterday. But getting back into the gym was actually the easy part. The bigger test came when I stepped on the scale. Because what do you do when you've eaten differently for a week and the scale suddenly seems to confirm your worst fear? What does that number actually mean? The fourth thing I do after I overeat is I don't allow one scale reading to make decisions for me. Before the trip, 151.8. The next time I weighed, 157. That's a 5.2 pound difference in 8 days. And yes, I noticed it. My reaction was, damn, I didn't think I'd be up that much. But almost immediately, my brain started going through the context. More restaurant food, more sodium, more simple carbohydrates than what I normally eat, alcohol, travel, different meal timing, more food physically moving through my digestive system, water retention, and not to mention I'm days leading up to my menstrual cycle. So I didn't look at 157 and automatically think, I gained 5 pounds of body fat. For that entire 5-pound jump to actually equal 5 pounds of body fat gained, I would have needed to eat over 18,000 calories more than what my body required in 8 days. Clearly, that's not what happened. So I gave the number context, and this is important. Not freaking out doesn't mean I had no reaction. I was surprised. I just didn't let that reaction start making decisions for me. I didn't restrict, I didn't add cardio, I didn't decide that I'd ruined anything. Because one scale reading is one data point. One data point is not a trend. And if you're waiting for me to tell you, don't worry, the 5 pounds already disappeared, I can't. I haven't weighed myself again. The last time I stepped on the scale, it read 157. And I don't plan to check again until my normal Sunday rebuild weigh-in. Personally, after I travel or go on vacation, I like to give myself about a week of being back in my normal routine before I put much meaning on the scale. I'm not spending that week trying to force the number down. I'm eating normally, training normally, hydrating, sleeping, giving my body time to regulate. Then I see where things settle. And I don't need to keep stepping on the scale every morning looking for reassurance. I already know what to do between now and Sunday. I don't need a lower number tomorrow to prove that today's reaction was the right one. Now, here's where it gets interesting because the answer isn't on the scale at all. Number 5 is the one I think matters the most long term. I get curious instead of judgmental. When I look back at those 8 days, I don't ask, Sarah, what's wrong with you? I ask, what was going on? And honestly, a lot. Before this trip, my husband had just been hospitalized for about 2 weeks, and it was an incredibly stressful stretch for our family. And I needed that beach trip. I needed to decompress. Then I'm at the beach with family members whose eating habits haven't necessarily changed in the same ways mine have. The food environment is different. We're on vacation. I'm relaxing. Then I come home and pretty much immediately go to a wedding. And that wedding, honestly, I wanted to let loose a little. I wanted a few drinks. I wanted the cake. I wanted to enjoy myself. And I don't regret that. Because getting curious doesn't always have to end with, how do I make sure this never happens again? Sometimes the answer is simply, that was an unusual week. I had just come through an extremely stressful experience. I went on vacation, I ate differently, I celebrated a wedding, and now I'm returning to normal. Not everything that caused the scale to go up is something I need to correct. That's very different from saying, I have no willpower, I lost control, I can't trust myself around food. Those statements don't teach me anything. Context does. Now, sometimes curiosity does show you a pattern. Maybe you're overeating at night because you're barely eating during the day. Maybe every stressful evening ends with a mindless graze or an alcoholic beverage. Maybe you're trying to eat perfectly all week long and then rebounding every weekend. That's useful information. Now you can ask, do I need more food earlier in the day? Am I restricting too hard? Do I need a better plan for stressful nights? That's actionable. The question isn't, how do I punish myself? It's, is there anything here I can learn from? Sometimes yes, and sometimes I went on vacation and then I went to a wedding. I'm fine. Both answers are allowed. And this is why I think what happens after overeating is often more important than overeating itself. Because one meal, one wedding, one weekend, even one vacation usually isn't where everything falls apart. It's the reaction afterward. You see the scale go up, you panic, you restrict, you get overly hungry, you eat again, then you think, well, I already screwed up. And suddenly you're waiting for Monday. Now, one overeating episode has turned into several more off-track days. The original food wasn't necessarily the bigger problem. The reaction became the problem. And that's what I've learned not to do anymore. I don't restart, I return. I had funnel cake, ice cream, pizza, wedding cake, drinks. Then I came home, I went back to lifting, I brought protein back into my mornings, my nutrition didn't instantly become perfect, and I don't even know what the scale is going to say on Sunday yet. None of that changes what I'm doing today. So if you ate more than you planned yesterday, remember these 5 things. Number 1, don't compensate. Number 2, return to your normal eating habits. Start with your anchors. Number 3, go back to your normal movement. Don't use exercise to pay for food. Number 4, give the scale context. One data point isn't your trend. And number 5, get curious instead of judgmental. Ask whether there's actually something useful to learn, and then keep going. The goal isn't to become someone who never overeats. The goal is to become someone who can have an imperfect meal, an imperfect weekend, or even an imperfect week without turning it into a spiral. And I think that's one of the biggest differences between losing weight and actually learning how to live at a lower weight. You don't need another Monday. You don't need to earn your food back. You don't need to start over. You just need the next choice. And one of the choices I'm being very deliberate about right now is my strength training. Because while I'm losing weight, I don't want just a smaller body. I want to protect my muscle and stay strong. So next week, I'm showing you my exact strength training plan during this rebuild. How many days I'm lifting, how I'm structuring those workouts, and what I'm focusing on while I lose fat. If you're losing weight and you're worried about losing muscle along with it, that's the video I want you to watch. Stay strong, bold, and healthy, and I'll see you in the next one.